So this is part 2 of episode 0. This is the tactical breakdown of Swansea City, where we are at the moment, where the players are, and how we're going to play. Originally it was going to be a part of part 1, but it goes on for about half an hour, so I thought I'd split it into 2 different parts. So here we are, guys. This is part 2. Enjoy the tactical breakdown. Okay, and we're back. So now we are at the squad depth screen here. So as you can see, my plan of attack is going to be a 4-1-2-3. So we're going to have the full backs, so right back, left back, 2 centre backs, a holding midfielder, 2 centre midfielders, 2 wingers, and a striker. Now, this is my preferred formation anyway, in my own personal save of Swansea City. This is how I play, and it goes really well. So I'm going to see if I can try and bring that across to the initial team, the startup team, which I've had a quick look anyway, and I think we can fit some positions in. So what I'm going to sort of talk through now is have a look at the players that we've got available to us, just to sort of justify the why we're going to be playing this way. So this is what I tend to normally do when taking over teams, is to go through the squad depth to see what we've got to work with here. So we're going to start with, if I just sort of untick everything, we're going to start with by having a look at the under-23s. Now, the reason I look at the under-23s is because ideally, you know, 21 and above, or 22 and above I should say, they should be competing for first team places. So what I'm going to do is, just for the time being, and they may come back down to the senior team, I'm going to move these guys into the senior team, because they may offer depth to us in positions that we may have. Is there anybody else that might be of interest here? So Oliver McBurney, he's 2.5 stars, so he's knocking on the door for a first team place. He plays target man, which is what we're going to be playing within our formation. So I'm going to move McBurney into the main team as well. As I've said, he may drop back into the under-23s once we go through it. But what we'll do, we'll go by each position and see what is best. So I think I've already got people selected. I have. So I'm going to, I don't want to do that. I'm going to clear the selection, just so we've got nobody there anyway. And let's go back to the squad. So we've got 4 goalkeepers. Now, normally I like to have 2 goalkeepers anyway. So to have 4 is a really good option. Gregor Zabret, I think he's on the transfer list anyway. He's not got that much potential. He's not got that much ability. So if we have a look at him just to see, I mean, yeah, I mean, he's okay. I think if we compare him to the likes of Fabianski, he's not really going to be knocking on the door. So I think it's right that he's on the transfer list. I'm going to knock him back through to the under-23s. So that leaves us with Fabianski, who's going to be our main goalkeeper. So we might as well select him in there. Nordfeldt and Mulder are going to be our backups. So that's good for us. So now that we can go back to the team report, we can, oh no, because I've changed these, I've added players in, it's going to add people in. We'll take those out. And now we can safely add in Fabianski, Nordfeldt and Mulder. So that shows us we've got a really decent depth at the goalkeeping positions. So now I think we're going to do right backs and left backs. So we'll keep the senior squad in there. Let's have a look at the right backs first. So we've got Rangel and Norton. Both of them are out and out right backs. So Rangel, you know, he's 35 years old. He's getting on a bit. He's getting close to retirement age. He still has very good stats considering. Okay, the physicals aren't exactly the best, but it's not too bad. I've seen worse on a right back. So, and then we've got Norton, who I think is more than likely going to be our starting right back. I mean, again, he's got the decent attributes, you know. At this level, it's okay, but it's what we've got to work with here. So those are the only 2 right back options we have. So if we go back to the squad depth here, we'll add both of those in. In all fairness, I'm happy to have those 2. We've got our starter, which is going to be Norton. Rangel is going to be the backup, so we're happy with that. Now, if we have a look at left backs, this doesn't look good. Norton comes under the left back, which he can play left back, but for the sake of the team report, I'm not going to include him because he's going to be our main right back. So really, Olsen is our only left back option at the club, which isn't ideal. I think when we come to January, we're either going to try and find a first teamer or maybe on loan to come in, or at least the minimum someone to cover. He's quite versatile, he can cover the whole left-hand side pretty much, but he is our only left-back option. So we'll add him in here on the squad depth. We do have Sam Klukas available to us, who, again, he's a very versatile player, although ideally he is a right midfielder by trade, but he is more comfortable at centre mid. He can play left back, he's got decent stats for left back, so he can fill in if we are super stuck, but as far as the squad depth is concerned, he's not going to be considered. He's going to be a centre midfielder as far as the squad depth is concerned. So I am definitely going to try and see if we can invest in a left back come the January transfer window. So now we have to have a look at the centre backs. So pretty much those are going to be the four we have available to us. We've got Alfie Mawson, who I believe is our best option. I think I mentioned previously, I think what we want to do is to have our best players play their most comfortable positions. So Mawson's a ball-playing defender, which is more than happy. I'm more than happy to play him as a ball-playing defender. So I think I've already sort of singled out a ball-playing defender. I'm going to put in Norton here, which I forgot to do actually. So if I go back to our right side defender, we're going to put Norton in there, and we're going to put in Olsen as our left back. I didn't want to do that. There we go, left back. So if we go back to the centre backs, now Mawson, he's right-footed, so I like to play my centre backs like the side of their foot in, because I think it finds that they play easier that way. Ideally they'd be both-footed, but we'll take what we can get. So Mawson's going to be our right-sided ball-playing defender, which leaves us with Fernandez, Bartley and Van der Horn. So I think that's adequate cover. I think Fernandez is probably the better of the other three. So we've got Fernandez, we've got Bartley, who, again, he's not too bad. A defensive centre-back, he's got pretty good stats for it. I'm probably going to be playing as a centre defender for the other centre-back, because I don't want to overcommit of a defensive centre-back and a ball playing in the same centre-halves. So I'm probably going to opt for Fernandez. I know he's right-footed as well. What are the others like? So, yeah, Kyle Bartley's right-footed, Van der Horn's right-footed. So Van der Horn's going to be our fourth choice. So, yeah, even the recommendations show that he is our fourth choice. So we're going to go with Fernandez and Mawson as our centre-backs. So that fills that in there. So we've got the depth there. So if I add into the report here, now what I've done is I've added in the roles here. So ball-playing defender and centre defender. It doesn't make much of a difference, to be honest with you. It's just to show that we've got depth in positions. And I even think Fernandez, Barkley and Van der Horn are going to be able to become ball-playing defenders. I mean, yeah, you know, it's better than half. So they'd be able to slot in if need be. So I'm happy with the centre-backs. I think we've got adequate cover, at least till the end of the season. We can always readdress that if we are still in a job by the end of the season. But left-back, I'm most concerned with. We're going to have a look at the holding midfielders. Now, as we mentioned before, Mesa, he's someone who can play holding midfield. And to be honest with you, I think during this run, I may move him to defensive midfielder, because he's got all the right stats to play in that position. But I'm not going to consider him for the squad depth for holding midfielder, purely because he's our best player. He's going to be playing Mazzella, spoiler alert, so I'm going to consider him as a centre midfielder. Sanchez is a centre midfielder. He is not really a defensive midfielder. I'm not going to consider him. Ki Sung-yong, he is definitely a holding midfielder. He's down as a deep line playmaker, which kind of sort of holds back in this position and distributes the balls as much as he can. Personally, I like playing defensive midfielders, but as I say, I'm going to play people in their best roles. So Ki Sung-yong is definitely a holding midfielder. Jay Fulton, he is definitely a centre mid. He hasn't really got the stats or the role ability to play as a holding midfielder. I mean, they're all yellow. They're all yellow stats, so he could do a job there if need be. But again, he's a centre mid. We're going to consider him a centre mid. Klukas we've already looked at. He, again, can slot in if need be, but He is definitely a centre mid. Leon Britton, Swansea legend. He's been at the club since 2002. And bar the odd, I think it was like half a season or a season at Sheffield United. And obviously started his career at West Ham. He has been at Swansea for, what, close to 16 years. And he's still a decent player. I mean, as a defensive midfielder, he looks really good. He's got decent tackling, work rate's class, teamwork's really good, concentration. He could do a job for us at defensive midfielder. He can also play as centre mid if he wants to, but I'm going to consider him as a DM for sure. And so we've got Key and Leon Britton. Leroy Fair, yeah, again, he's definitely a centre mid. And we got Josh Sheehan as well, who also is a centre mid. So what that tells me is we've got two options at the DM role. We've got Leon Britton and we've got Ki Sung Yong. Now, the game is looking at this as a deep line playmaker, which they're both 3 stars at. If I move this over to defensive midfielder, which is kind of how I want to play, it's, you know, yeah, it's going to put everyone back in. But if I take everyone else out, Leon Britton definitely gets the nod. I mean, it depends on injuries and suspension and stuff. I might change the roles depending on the players. As much as Leon Britton is a really good DM, I do appreciate that Ki Sung Yong is a very good deep line playmaker. So that might change, but I'm happy to play a DM there, and those are going to be the 2 guys we consider in the DM roles. Now, obviously, we haven't got any right midfielders or left midfielders in this team, and I'm just going to show you the reason why. Sam Krukas is the only left midfielder in this team. Martin Olsson is a left back. We've already chosen him there. So, you know, he's not. We don't have that strength in these positions. If I show you the right side as well, Roque Mesa's a centre mid. Nathan Dyer, he can play right midfield, but he can also play right wing, which he's a lot more comfortable in. So that's why we haven't opted for any right midfielders or left midfielders. I'm also going to, for the sake of it, I'm going to choose Ki Sung Yong as my holding midfielder, just so we've got the team going. Now, midfield centre, this is where we have a lot of depth and a lot of sort of things to play with. We've got a lot of players that can slot into different positions, and plus we've got Adam King and Josh Sheehan coming through. So we've got a lot of depth in that midfield. Roque Mesa, as I've mentioned before, is our main man. He can play multiple positions in the middle of the park. Cariello, Mazzella, box to box. I mean, without me going in depth with what each role does, I'm going to opt for a Mazzella in there. So I'm going to put in Mesa as a Mazzella, which I believe is on the left-hand side. Yes, it is. Now, I'm going to go through this once we've selected all the players, but the Mazzella basically kind of sort of drifts up into this sort of area, leaves the midfield area, and Mesa is pretty good at doing that. So he's going to be our first choice Mazzella centre midfielder. Renato Sanchez, so he's going to be on the other side. Now, he's really good at a ball-winning midfielder. Now, a ball-winning midfielder kind of sort of drifts from kind of holding midfield to centre attacking midfield to win the ball. Whereas a box-to-box kind of just goes literally as it says, like from one box to the other box. I tend to find the ball-winning midfielders kind of, it's kind of from there to there if you look at my mouse. So it kind of goes from the holding midfield positions to the attacking midfield positions. Which, looking at Sanchez's stats, I mean, he is a class player anyway. I wish he was that good in real life. I swear, I'm not going to go into it. But I'm not going to play him as a ball-winning midfielder. I'm going to play him as an advanced playmaker. The reason I'm playing it there, which, you know, he has decent stats for that position, is because the advanced playmaker tends to stay in the midfield positions and, you know, distribute the ball and will come this way. So because Mesa's going to be going to the side as a semi-winger, I want to keep Sanchez in that. I need someone in the middle. So obviously we're going to have our DM there as well, but I'd like to have Sanchez in the middle there. So he's going to be our right midfielder. Now, he is suspended all my game, which is suspended for 3 games from the looks of it. So, is it 3 games? Yeah, 3 matches, it says there. So, he's not going to be an option for our first 2 games. And what I've realised is, because it says the next game's Everton, I'm going to have to sim that game. Because in real life, Swansea lost 3-1. So I'll sim that game, so we are accurate to the 20th of December. So it's going to be 2 games that he's going to be missing. But I'm going to be treating this as our first 11 if everyone is fit. So Sanchez will be our right-sided midfielder. Tom Carroll, again, advanced playmaker, plays really well. And also a deep line playmaker, which is very similar to what Key plays there. Which I believe deep lying, very similar to advanced, whereas advanced I kind of think drifts forward. The deep lying kind of just sort of sits back and sort of just distributes the ball wherever they need to go. So Tom Carroll has decent stats, man. He's got good composure, good decisions, first touch. He's going to be a good player. And he's definitely going to come in handy for us when we need to rotate players. So he's going to be classed as an advanced playmaker. Obviously, Keeson Young's our holding midfielder. Jay Fulton. Now, Jay Fulton, he's come through, he's 23, he's come through more under 23s, I believe. Decent stats. 2.5 stars, he's knocking on the door. I mean, he can play as a Mazzella or an advanced playmaker. He's more of just your bulk standard centre midfielder and also a ball-winning midfielder, which he's got decent stats for. But, like I say, for our tactic, I think he's going to be considered as a Mazzella. So we're going to fill those in now, the first 2. Just so we know sort of our strongest 2 for that. So we're going to put Jay Fulton in there. We're also going to move Sanchez into here and Tom Carroll. So those are going to be our sort of 2 first ones, just so we don't get lost in what we do. Because obviously we've got a lot of midfielders to go through. Jay Fulton is transfer listed, which I'm going to take him off the transfer list. Just for now. We might put him back on it, depending on where we are, but we'll see. Sam Clucas, we're going to treat him as a midfielder, and immediately Mazzella is the first role it gives us. He's got really sort of just average stats across the board, which isn't bad for this level, because obviously he's very versatile, but, you know, he's just okay, I think, in most roles. I don't see him as a main, you know, first team player. He's going to be filling in a lot of roles for us, but as far as the actual squad depth is concerned, I think we're going to make him a centre midfielder, although I'm more than likely either going to put him on the wing or even maybe left back, depending on where we are. So Sam Clucas, you will be a Mazzella in our team. Leon Britton, he's obviously a holding midfielder for us. Leroy Fair, now straight away it tells us that he's brilliantly suited for an advanced playmaker role, which is really good for the tactic we want to play. And as you can see, the highlighted stats, decision making's a bit, but everything else, you know, we're looking at the 13 to 15 range. So we've kind of the yellow, so, you know, he's okay for this role. So I think he's probably definitely going to be a advanced playmaker. So we're going to add those 2 in, just so that we can show that we're showing some depth here. So Clucas is going to be our Mazzella, and we're going to have Leroy Fair as our advanced playmaker. So automatically becomes the second best advanced playmaker we have. The remaining 2, we got Adam King, who we've brought up from our under-23s. He's a decent Mazzella, you know, not the best stats if I'm honest with you. So I think he's going to be more suited to be dropping down to the under-23s. And Josh Sheehan, brilliant role for Mazzella. You know, decent stats again, you know, 10 to 12s in most of the key stats. But I think, again, he's going to drop down to the under-23s. So what we'll do, we'll drop these in to our under-23s. And that, I think, is our centre midfield situation, which I'm very happy about. We've got really good depth. They're all very similar quality, you know, and a lot of these players can sort of play each other's positions anyway. So Mason can drop back to holding midfield. Sanchez can also play Mazzella. I think he's actually got a really good stat for Mazzella. Yeah, so in fact, Sanchez's best position is a Mazzella. But because Mason's going to be there, I'm going to put him over to advanced playmaker. Now we need to look at our wingers. So if we look in the centre of the park, as far as centre attacking midfielder, even though we're not going to be playing as a centre, let me move myself here, a centre attacking midfielder, I don't think we've really got anyone decent enough to play in those positions. Like, for example, Sanchez is not very good there. Tom Carroll isn't very good there. You know, we haven't got, I mean, obviously Boney's a striker, Leroy Fair is a midfielder, and Kenji Gore is one of our under-23s. we haven't got any strength in central attacking midfield. So that's why we haven't decided to use a central attacking midfielder. Attacking midfielder right. So in the attacking midfielder right, if I go back to the squad depth, I've decided to play, and I'm going to botch this so badly, a Rom Dauteur, which, if I highlight over it, is a space investigator. He is like the FBI of the pitch. He wants to know what is going on in that area. So as it says in the write-up there, his main role is to find pockets of space in which to operate. Essentially a wide poacher, the Rom Dauteur, please let me know if I'm saying that wrong, takes up seemingly harmless positions out wide, waiting for the opportune moment to burst through defence line and telling shot or cross. So basically he's going to be roaming in this kind of area. You know, he might drift over here, he might drift down here, he might go up to the wing. He's going to be looking for that extra space so he can just go up the wing or cut inside. So normally I'd like to go for wingers, but I really like this new role. I think it's going to be so important for the tactic we want to play with Swansea. Now, the only problem is that it's a very specialist role. So not a lot of people are going to be a natural in that role. So we might have to sort of work with what we've got. So Narsing, he's a right midfielder, or right winger I should say. He's down as a winger. As a Rom Dauteur, he's, you know, again, he's okay. Concentration decisions might be some room for improvement, but unfinished, this is the important thing I believe. For both of the wingers, it's going to be finishing. And the problem with the wingers, which we're going to see now, is that we don't really have a lot of very good finishers. So we're going to be seeing a lot of long shots going to Rosette, which is going to frustrate me to no end. But, you know, first touch is okay. So Narsing is going to be a right winger, definitely. Jordan Ayew is more of a striker than a right midfielder or right winger, but he can play wing quite well. And actually, he would be one of an ideal candidate to play in that right wing position, along with Tammy Abraham, which we're going to be looking at shortly. He's got decent stats all round, you know, 15, 14, 16. You know, he's got good finishing, which is what we need. So I think he's going to be a good candidate, but for the sake of the squad depth, he's not going to be considered as a right wing. He is a striker, that's what he is. Tammy Abraham, as we just mentioned, again, another one. He is an out-and-out striker, that is his role. He can play right across the back of behind the striker, so he can play, you know, centre attacking midfield, left wing, right wing. His main role as right wing is a Rom Dauteur, which, again, he's got decent stats for. He's going to be, I think, one of the main people we consider for that position. But, again, he's a striker, so we're not going to consider him. Nathan Dyer, so one of the older members of the team, 30 years old. He's been with Swansea since 2008, so 10 years he's been in this team. Obviously known for his pace, which, you know, he's still got a bit of pace on him. You know, 16 pace is nothing to be worried about. He is a natural winger, so he is going to be one of our right wingers. He's another one that can sort of play on the other wing, but, you know, again, he's not exactly suited for a left wing job. As far as the role we'd like him to play, again, he's okay. You know, decisions a bit 10, but he's okay. I think he'd be a good backup option if we needed someone to slot into that role. So Nathan Dyer is definitely going to be there. Routledge, he's a left winger. He can play on the right, but he is a natural left winger, so we're not going to include him. Kenji Gore, he's another right winger. He's from our under-23s. So for the role we want to play him as, is right at the bottom, so I don't think he's going to be in consideration for our first team. And then we got Courtney Baker Richardson, which very similar to Jordan Ayew and Tammy Abraham. He is a striker who can also play on the wing. In fact, they say that winger is his best role. So what we'll do there is it's going to be Narsing and Dyer who can play in that position, and Kenji Gore. So let's fill in the squad depth here. So we're going to have Dyer, Narsing, and Kenji Gore. So Kenji Gore's current ability, he's not really suited, I don't think. He's half a star. He's not really knocking on the door to be there. So what I'm going to do is I am going to move him into the under-23s, which takes him out of consideration for the right wing position. And then as far as picking it, I'm going to go for I'm going to go for Narsing, I think, at the moment. Because, looking at the stats there, I think he's best suited. If we have a look, we might change it come our first game of the season. But just for the sake of filling in the team, Narsing is going to be our out-and-out right winger, let's call it. So, now left side of midfield. Now, the role I've decided to go for left attacking midfielder is an inside forward, which if I go into the squad depth for, the inside forward aims to cut inside from the flanks and directly at the centre of the opposition's defence, and works best when the player's strongest foot is opposite to the flank he's playing on. So basically, we need him to be right-footed, because what he's going to be doing, he's going to be cutting inside here, kind of helping the striker, which also kind of lends into why I played a Mazzella, because Mesa or whoever plays as a Mazzella is going to be kind of moving into this flank, so he's going to be moving into here. Inside forward's going to be moving into here, so we're going to be kind of playing with two strikers and the both wingers. Obviously the Raumdeuter is going to be sort of coming in and out and drifting into space. So it's good to have that inside forward. So the only option we really have, because Narsing's already our right midfielder or right winger. Now because he is right-footed, he can play as an inside forward, and he actually plays that role pretty well actually. He's got really good stats for it. Acceleration, pace, decisions, flair. The only thing that's done is finishing, so I think Narsing could be a very good candidate to be our left winger. I know we've selected him as a right wing, but he could be a very good candidate. Sam Klukas obviously is our midfielder. He can also play there. I mean, inside forward, as we said before, we're kind of average across the board there. But we've got Wayne Routledge, who is on the transfer list, I believe. No, he's not on the transfer list. I might have already taken him off. But he is an out-and-out inside forward. That is his role. He's right-footed, which is really good. That's exactly what we want. You know, good acceleration, decent pace, decision-making, technique. His passing's a little bit bad, if I'm honest with you, which makes me wonder if Narsing might be better playing on that left-hand side. So, if what we can do is if we compare Narsing to Wayne Routledge, where are you, Narsing? There you are. So if we compare midfield role to inside forward attack. Now Narsing's got better dribbling, the finishing's about the same. That's the only thing I'm worried about really, is the finishing, because they're both really bad. Well, no, not bad, but you know, Narsing's got better first touch, he's got better long shots. Routledge's got better technique, better composure. Obviously Narsing's got more flair. So, I think Narsing's probably going to be better in that left midfield or left attacking midfielder role. So, and then Routledge I think will provide a decent backup for that. So what we can do now that we know that, is we can take Narsing out of the right midfield role. We can kind of put him in the left midfield role. Now, obviously they're both rated 3 stars, which is good because Routledge can be of a backup to that. So, as far as the right midfield goes, we've only got really Nathan Dyer that can fit that position. Which leaves us to strikers. Now, with the strikers, we have a lot of people to choose from. We've got Boney, AU, Abraham, Oliver McBurney, and Baker Richardson. Courtney, if you ever come across this video, I'm ever so sorry for butchering your name. But I think the main 2 options up front is going to be either Wilfred Boney, who is a Swansea legend. You know, when he first rolled with the club, he scored 25 goals, 54 appearances, which is not too shabby. Almost a goal every 2 games. You know, he's a perfect target man. You know, he's 6 foot tall. He's got brute strength. He's got okay jumping reach, but good balance, good finishing, good heading. He is the ideal target man. And according to our comparison, he is probably the best striker we have at this club. So he's more than likely going to be our starting striker. Jordan Ayew, as we looked at previously, he's a complete forward, and in my own tactic, I don't like to play as a target man. I like to play a complete forward because it kind of does all the roles really well. And Jordan Ayew is the sort of definition of a complete forward. He's got all the decent stats there, everything we kind of need. He's going to be a really good backup option, and we might even sub him in. He might even sort of play a few games if Boney's not coming up to scratch. So Ayew's definitely going to be the backup option there. Tammy Abraham we have on loan from Chelsea, a really good prospect. He's only 20 years old, and he's more like a defensive forward more than anything. Which, if we go for the complete forward, which would be more than likely the position he plays, you know, he is there. He's got over 10 on all of those stats, which is something we kind of want to work with, which is a good sort of foundation to what we want to. Now, with Tammy Abraham, I think what I'm going to do with him, as we've seen before, he works really well as a roam daughter. I've said that differently each time I've said it, so get used to that. But I think what I'm going to do with him is I'm going to make him the right midfielder, and we're going to put him in on the team report as our right winger. So, where are you, Tammy? You are there. Now, him and Dyer are very similar rated, so it's good to see that we've got a decent backup option there. So that leaves us with Boney, AU as the two strikers. Now, the only ones we haven't looked at is Wayne Routledge, obviously, is going to be our left winger. Oliver McBurney, who came up from our under-23s. You know, advanced forward, he can play quite well. Target man, so he would be an alternative to Boney. He's taller than Boney, 6'2". He's got maybe not quite the strength in he, but he's got good heading, good jumping reach. So, and his finishing is 15 as well. So he's, I think, is going to be maybe the third choice of our strike partnership. He's obviously we only play one striker, but he's going to be, I think, the alternative option, just in case we need someone else in there. I think good old Courtney, come up from around 23s. I don't think he's quite ready for first team action yet. So what we're going to do, we're going to drop him into our under 23s. So pretty much that is what we're looking like as far as squad depth is concerned. So I think I've picked all the players. I think I have. There we are. So I think on our lineup, I can... Oh, just to make sure as well, one thing. Obviously to make sure we've covered everyone on the team. If we count up all the players, we've got 3, 5, 6, 9, 10, 12, 15, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Just to make sure we have covered everyone. If we highlight everyone there, we have 25 people. So everyone in this squad has been assigned, not assigned a role, but they've been given, you know, they know where their place is in the team. So if we sort by position, you know, we've got a plan for everybody pretty much. So everyone's got their role in the team, which obviously gives us a better idea of where we need to improve. So left back is an option. I think we definitely need to improve that. We've only got Martin Olsen. Obviously Klukas can come in and cover that position, but I'm not confident enough. If Martin Olsen gets injured, we are screwed pretty much. Defensive midfielder, I'd like to maybe bring someone in there. Britton is a brilliant defensive midfielder, don't get me wrong, but he's 35 years old now. You know, he is going to be dropping dramatically. The physical is going to drop. He's not our long-term future. So I would maybe like to bring in a defensive midfielder. Midfield, I'm quite happy with the midfield strength, to be honest with you. I'm okay with that. I think we're pretty good on that one to go. Wingers, we're going to have to deal with that. I maybe would like to bring in a left winger. I would maybe be interested in doing that because I don't think those two are going to be any sort of good competition for what we actually want. And then we got our strikers. We've got our 3 strikers. AU's going to maybe substitute for Boney if form kind of drops. So that's going to be our tactic pretty much. So the only thing I think I need to address from here as well is, as far as the mentality and team shape goes, I've kind of already done my team instructions, which I'll clear out because I've got but my own personal Swansea City save, which I'm doing very well in. I think we've actually won the Champions League with Swansea City. I think we're about 6 years in advance there. And I've experimented with, obviously, this, because there's 2 ways you can kind of go about it. You get some people that kind of just go, blah, 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 we'll put everything in, we'll put one of everything, you know, obviously not random like this, but we're going to have just this crazy tactic, which has got all these things selected. I mean, some people will tell you not to do that. Some people will try and tell you to sort of, you know, make it as simple as possible, which is fine. You know, there's no right or wrong way to do tactics here. But, so some people like to do that. Some people like to have it with everything random. So I've got a preset here, which I will bring in, which I've aptly called Short and Quick. Which, can I load it? There we go. So, as I was mentioning before about having Swansea City play the way I would like them to, this is how I'd like them to play in the past, which tempo high tempo, so it's a very quick game, which is why I called it sort of quick and what did I call it? Short and quick. So it's going to be, you know, quick passing, short passes, very tiki-taka sort of style to sort of get the ball out, you know, make the runs, keep it short, don't lose possession, I think is kind of the main outcome there. So we're going to have a much higher tempo. We'll be playing very narrow, which I find in this year's Football Manager, narrow works better than you working wide. I've tried width as going wide, but I don't think it works as well as playing narrow. So even though we have wingers, which we're also going to be exploiting the right and left flanks anyway, I think narrow is the way to go. Defensive line, you know, keep it normal. I don't want to, you know, I could go high line or deeper line. I find that that's probably the best, you know, median for that. And use offside trap because, you know, who doesn't like to use an offside trap? Prevent short goalkeeper distribution. I like to press the goalkeepers, make sure, you know, because you don't know what happened in this game. I have seen so many randomly stupid goals in this game. You don't know what's going to happen. So always press the goalkeeper and closing down, very much like Jurgen Klopp sort of gen pressing. We like to close people down. You know, make them make mistakes. You know, by pressing them down, it's going to force them to do things they may not want to do, which obviously gives us a advantage. As we said, shorter passing, you know, exploiting the flanks and playing out of defence. I don't want to play hoofball. We don't want to play Tony Pulis football here, which is why I don't think he's been linked with a job. But we don't want to be doing that, so we're going to be definitely keeping the ball on our feet, playing out from the back and exploiting the flanks as much as possible. And I think the only other things we've done as well is look for the overlap, because we're playing with fullbacks, so they're going to be overlapping, getting the crosses in as well, and basically run at the defence. I want us to have a go, do you know what I mean? Take your man on, have a chance, do you know what I mean? Because that's the way we want to play. We want to play exciting football. We don't want to play boring football. So, apart from that, guys, I think that's pretty much the tactics done. Obviously, players are subject to change. We've got a transfer window coming up, so that might change. But that's the shape we're going with. I'm happy with the shape. Again, might change depending on results we get. But I think that's how we're going to set ourselves up to start with there. So, I think pretty much, guys, that's everything I want to say for this opening episode of Saving Swans. I'm sorry for no game time today. This is just literally an introduction. So this is how we're going to set ourselves up for success. So, as you can see, the next game, I think it says we've got Everton, which I'm going to simulate until we lose, because, unfortunately, Paul Campbell was sacked on the 20th of December. So, the first game we're going to be playing is against Crystal Palace in the next episode. So, hopefully, this has been a bit of an insight for you. One thing I will say, I'm not a tactical genius at all. You know, this is just what works for me. And if you've got any tips, by all means, leave it down in the comments if you've got something to say. Obviously, I'm new starting out, so I'm not expecting the millions of people to be there. But if you do come across it and you like it, you know, you're interested in the journey that we're going to be taking, please leave a like, because it just shows that we've got people out there who want to help save Swansea City. We are going to do it, guys. We're going to save Swansea City. So, thank you very much for tuning in. Next time, we're going to have our first game of the season against Crystal Palace, and hopefully we can do better for them. So, hopefully, I'll see you next time. All the best, guys. I'll see you later.